The American boat market is drowning in unsold inventory, and some boats are sinking faster than others. Dealers are sitting on vessels that won't move no matter how deep they cut prices. Interest rates have killed financing. Buyers are paralyzed by fear, and certain boats have become toxic assets that nobody wants at any price. Today, we're counting down the 11 worst-selling boats in the United States right now. From innovative designs that buyers rejected to luxury vessels that priced themselves into oblivion. These aren't just slow sellers. These are the boats destroying dealer profits. The machines sitting for over 300 days, collecting dust while carrying costs, bleed dealerships dry. From pontoons that collapse nearly 20% to jet boats that nobody's buying, these are the vessels that define the 2026 boat market crisis. Let's dive into the wreckage. Number 11. Bayliner VR5. The Bayliner VR5 should have been a winner, an affordable bow rider powered by a Mercury 200 horsepower outboard, priced to attract first-time buyers wanting accessible family fun without breaking the bank. Bayliner built its reputation on exactly this formula for decades. Boats that middle-class families could actually afford without taking second mortgages. The VR5 promised versatility with seating configurations that could adapt from cruising to fishing, from pulling kids on tubes to relaxed sunset trips. At around $40,000 new, it sat in the sweet spot where financing should have made ownership possible for traditional boat-buying demographics. But two problems killed the VR5's sales potential faster than a hurricane kills a boat show. First, quality concerns that have plagued Bayliner for years finally caught up with the brand in a market where buyers have become paranoid about resale value and long-term durability. Reviews highlighted cheaper construction materials, thinner fiberglass layups that felt hollow when you rapped knuckles against the hull, and components that didn't inspire confidence they'd survive 5 years of saltwater exposure. When buyers are already nervous about losing equity in a declining market, they gravitate toward brands with stronger reputations for holding value. Bayliner, fairly or not, doesn't have that reputation anymore. The second problem was timing that couldn't have been worse. The VR5 launched into a market already drowning in used bow riders from the pandemic boom. Buyers looking at $40,000 new VR5s could scroll through Boat Trader and find 3-year-old boats from premium brands like Sea Ray or Cobalt for $35,000 or less. These used boats were better built, better equipped, and carried stronger resale potential. Why buy new Bayliner when slightly used premium costs the same or less? Dealers report that VR5s sit on their lots for 8 months, 10 months, sometimes over a year. The few sales that do happen involve aggressive discounting that destroys dealer margins. Discounts reaching 20 or 25% off sticker are common, bringing prices down to $32,000 or $33,000 just to generate any interest. Bayliner is trapped in a vicious cycle where weak sales lead to terrible resale values, lead to even weaker sales. For now, the VR5 represents the worst of both worlds. Not cheap enough to overcome quality concerns, not good enough to justify its price against superior used competition. Number 10. Moomba Mojo. Wake sport boats defined the pandemic boom like nothing else. Families stuck at home wanted water toys that provided entertainment and status, and wakeboard boats with their massive artificial wakes became the ultimate symbols in lake communities. Moomba, a value brand within the skier's choice family, positioned the Mojo as an affordable entry into wake sports culture. Powered by an Indmar Raptor 6.2-liter V8, producing 400 horsepower, the Mojo could generate the massive wakes and long, clean surf waves that riders demanded. The ballast system held thousands of pounds of water to shape wakes perfectly for different riding styles. The tower was strong enough for serious use and abuse from riders hitting it repeatedly. The interior featured comfortable seating for 8 people and a sound system loud enough to hear across the entire lake. At around $85,000, the Mojo undercut premium brands by $20,000 to $30,000 while offering similar on-water performance. During the boom, that value proposition seemed unbeatable, and Moombas flew off dealer lots faster than they could be delivered from the factory. Buyers appreciated getting 90% of the performance for 70% of the price compared to Malibu or Nautique. But 2026 has been absolutely brutal for wake sport boats. Sales in the wake sport segment dropped 14.3% year over year, and the Mojo is among the worst performers in that already declining category. The problem is that wake boats, attract a very specific, very affluent buyer who uses them intensely during summer months and expects premium quality and brand prestige. These buyers view wake boats as lifestyle statements, not just recreational equipment, and brand matters enormously to them. When economic uncertainty hits and these buyers tighten budgets, they don't trade down to value brands like Moomba. They either buy used premium boats or exit the category entirely. The Mojo's target customer has largely disappeared from the market. The middle-class buyers who might have stretched budgets for $85,000 are now priced out entirely by high interest rates that make monthly payments unaffordable. The wealthy buyers who could easily afford the Mojo won't accept a value brand when resale value matters more than initial purchase price. Resale values have plummeted faster for Moomba than premium brands. A Mojo that sold for $85,000 in 2022 might be worth $55,000 or even $50,000 today. That's a $30,000 value loss in just 3 years. Buyers recognize this depreciation disaster and either avoid Moomba entirely or offer lowball prices around $60,000 for new boats, prices that dealers absolutely cannot accept. The boats sit on showroom floors, accumulating carrying costs, while dealers pray for buyers who aren't coming. Moomba's parent company has responded with production cuts and dealer incentives, but nothing is working to revive demand. The Mojo has become a cautionary tale about how value brands suffer disproportionately when demand evaporates. Number 9. 4Winds H2. 4Winds built a solid reputation over decades as the upscale choice for buyers who wanted premium quality but couldn't quite afford true luxury brands. The H2 represented their latest attempt to compete in the competitive runabout segment with distinctive styling and quality construction. Powered by a Cruiser 4.5-liter V6, producing 250 horsepower, the H2 offered respectable performance wrapped in bodywork featuring aggressive lines and modern styling. The hull design incorporated features borrowed from more expensive boats, with aggressive rake and flare that looked purposeful rather than generic. The gel coat finish was thick and lustrous, the kind of quality that takes extra time and care during manufacturing. The interior used higher-grade materials than mass-market competitors, with real stitched upholstery and quality marine carpet. The dashboard layout was thoughtful and ergonomic, with gauges and switches positioned logically for easy access while underway. Storage compartments were well designed and actually held what families needed, rather than wasting space with awkward shapes. The sound system was upgraded with premium speakers positioned strategically throughout the boat. Even small details like cup holders and grab rails were executed with attention to quality and placement. At around $65,000, 4Winds positioned the H2 as the thinking person's bow rider. The marketing emphasized value through quality, rather than competing purely on price with entry-level brands. 4Winds believed there was a sustainable market for buyers who appreciated craftsmanship and would pay modestly more for it. The problem is that 2026 doesn't care about thoughtful positioning or quality details. Buyers care about price above everything else, and the H2 is simply too expensive for a market brutally focused on affordability. The appreciation for quality that might have mattered during prosperous times means nothing when buyers are scared and focused purely on getting the best deal possible. Dealers report a consistent pattern. Buyers walk into showrooms, admire the H2's styling and quality, then see the $65,000 price tag, and immediately pull out their phones to check used boat listings. The conversation ends before it really begins because the price gap is too large to overcome. Why pay $65,000 for a new 4Winds when you can buy a 3-year-old Sea Ray or Regal for $45,000 or less? That $20,000 difference represents enormous value that quality details simply cannot justify. 4Winds is caught in the brutal squeeze affecting all mid-tier brands. Not cheap enough to compete on pure price, not prestigious enough to justify premium pricing. The brand has no natural constituency left in a market that's split between bargain hunters and luxury buyers. Sales have collapsed to the point where dealers are offering discounts approaching 20% off retail just to move aged inventory. These discounts bring prices down to $52,000 or $53,000, destroying margins. Even at those reduced prices, buyers continue negotiating harder, sensing desperation and pushing for even deeper cuts. 4. Winds needs to either dramatically reduce pricing or elevate brand prestige. Neither option seems likely, leaving the H2 stranded between market segments with nowhere to go. Number 8. Cobalt R6. Cobalt represents the absolute pinnacle of American bowrider construction. Boats built to standards that rival European luxury brands. The R6 exemplified this philosophy. A 29-foot bow rider powered by a Volvo Penta Vive 8, producing 380 horsepower, capable of speeds exceeding 60 miles per hour. The hull was hand-laid fiberglass, with exceptional attention to detail. The gel coat was applied in multiple layers and hand-polished to a mirror finish that reflected like glass. The hull-to-deck joint was through-bolted and sealed with marine adhesive, not just screwed together like cheaper boats. The interior featured real teak accents, stainless steel hardware, and premium marine vinyl. The upholstery was double-stitched with UV-resistant thread that would last decades without deterioration. Every switch and control felt solid and substantial. The helm featured analog gauges alongside digital displays, combining classic aesthetics with modern functionality. The sound system was premium components throughout, producing concert-quality sound that filled the boat without distortion. Storage compartments were lined with marine carpet and featured gas-assist struts that held lids open safely. The swim platform was extra wide with a telescoping ladder that deployed smoothly and locked securely. Even the cup holders were stainless steel with drain holes, details that cheaper boats would execute in plastic. At around $190,000, the R6 represented serious money. But during the boom years, that money bought genuine luxury and performance that owners proudly showed off at marinas. Cobalt owners became brand ambassadors, constantly explaining to admirers why their boats were worth the premium. 2026 is not boom times, and luxury bow riders are struggling catastrophically. The R6's target customer, affluent buyers who want dayboat luxury without yacht complexity, has largely exited the market completely. Some have moved to used boats at half the price. Others have shifted to different boat types, like center consoles that retain value better. Still others have left boating entirely, finding that six-figure recreational purchases are impossible to justify. The psychology has shifted from wanting the best to avoiding losses, and that shift is fatal for luxury products. The R6 sits on dealer lots for months, sometimes approaching a year. Discounts of $30,000 to $40,000 are increasingly common, representing 20% plus reductions that destroy profitability. Even at $150,000, heavily discounted, the boats don't move because buyers see that massive discount and conclude that waiting will bring prices even lower. Why commit at $150 when patience might bring it to $130 or $120? The rational calculation for each individual buyer creates collective paralysis where nobody transacts. Cobalt has responded by cutting production dramatically and focusing on smaller, more affordable models. The R6 has become an albatross that dealers can't move at any price that makes financial sense. Dealers who took on R6 inventory are now stuck with six-figure boats, tying up capital while generating zero revenue. It's a heartbreakingly beautiful boat, exceptionally well-built, but beauty and quality don't sell boats in markets defined by fear and uncertainty. Number 7. Tracker Pro Team 175 TXW. Tracker Marine is the largest boat manufacturer in the world by unit volume, building affordable aluminum fishing boats. The Pro Team 175 TXW represented their entry-level tournament base boat offering, a 17.5-foot welded aluminum hull powered by a Mercury 75 horsepower outboard. The aluminum construction was welded rather than riveted, providing superior strength and durability that could handle rocky shorelines and underwater obstacles. The layout featured a large front casting deck with plenty of room for anglers to work comfortably. Storage compartments were strategically placed for rods, tackle, and essential gear that bass fishermen need readily accessible. The live wells were sized appropriately for tournament bass, with recirculation systems to keep fish healthy during long competition days. The Mercury 75 horsepower outboard provided adequate speed and reliability without the fuel consumption of larger engines. At around $25,000 with a trailer included, it should have been one of the most affordable paths into serious bass fishing. Tracker positioned the Pro Team as the working man's tournament boat, the rig that lets you compete without breaking the bank. The value proposition was clear and compelling, professional-level features at entry-level pricing. The fishing boat segment showed surprising resilience during the 2025 market collapse, declining only 0.4%, while other categories crashed by double-digit percentages. Serious anglers view boats as essential tools rather than luxury toys, creating baseline demand even when discretionary spending disappears. Fishing isn't optional for dedicated anglers. It's part of their identity and lifestyle. But the Pro Team 175 TXW is struggling badly despite category stability. The problem is brutal oversaturation at the entry level. During the pandemic boom, Tracker ramped up production to meet exploding demand from first-time buyers. Factories ran multiple shifts and overtime to keep up with orders that seemed endless. Dealers ordered aggressively, confident they could sell everything they received within weeks. Now, the market is absolutely flooded with 2- and 3-year-old Tracker boats from owners who discovered they didn't fish as much as they thought. Many of these pandemic buyers went out a handful of times, realized fishing required patience and skill they didn't have, and decided to cut their losses. These used Trackers are listed everywhere: Boat Trader, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, priced at $15,000 to $18,000, barely half what new ones cost. Many show fewer than 50 hours of use and are essentially new boats at massive discounts. The typical justifications for buying new don't hold up against $7,000 or $8,000 in savings. Why would anyone pay $25,000 for a new Pro Team when they can buy an essentially identical, barely used example for $17,000? Tracker dealers are sitting on new Pro Teams that move slowly or not at all, while used boats churn rapidly. The company has cut production substantially and offered dealer incentives, but neither strategy has solved the fundamental problem. The Pro Team is a good boat offered at a fair price, but it's competing directly against itself in the form of cheap used inventory, and that's a battle it cannot win. Number 6. Regal LS6 Surf. Regal built its reputation on premium quality and innovative features. The LS6 Surf represented their entry into the wake surf segment that exploded during the pandemic. At 26 feet with a Volvo Penta 8 producing 380 horsepower, the LS6 could generate the massive wakes that riders demanded. The ballast system held thousands of pounds of water that could be distributed strategically to shape wakes for different riding styles. The wake-shaping technology included surf tabs and gates that allowed fine-tuning wave characteristics for goofy or regular-footed riders. The interior was classic Regal quality with premium upholstery, thoughtful storage, and attention to detail throughout. The tower was substantial and well-engineered, designed to handle the forces of serious riding without flexing or vibrating. The sound system was premium components, producing clear, loud audio that could be heard while riding behind the boat. At around $130,000, it offered Regal's legendary build quality in a package that appealed to affluent families. Regal believed they could capture families who wanted surf capability without the hardcore competition focus of dedicated brands. The marketing emphasized versatility and quality rather than pure performance specifications. The critical problem is that wake surf boats attracted only 2 types of buyers: serious surf enthusiasts who wanted dedicated equipment from premium brands, and casual families who wanted to try the trendy sport. The serious enthusiasts viewed brands like Nautique, Malibu, and MasterCraft as the only acceptable choices because of their competition pedigree and professional rider endorsements. These buyers wouldn't consider Regal regardless of build quality because the brand lacked credibility in competitive wake sports. The serious enthusiasts aren't buying Regal because it's not a dedicated surf brand with competition pedigree. The casual families have largely exited the market, discovering that wake boats are costly to operate and require significant skill. Fuel consumption on wake boats is measured in gallons per hour rather than miles per gallon, shocking families used to normal boats. Operating a wake boat properly requires understanding ballast management, speed control, and safety protocols that casual buyers never master. The learning curve is steep, and many families gave up after realizing they'd bought expensive equipment they couldn't use effectively. Regal is stuck in the middle, too expensive for casual buyers, not specialized enough for serious enthusiasts. The middle ground that seemed viable during the boom has completely disappeared as the market contracted. Dealers report that LS6 surf boats sit for 6 months or longer with minimal serious interest. When buyers do show interest, they make lowball offers that reflect terrible resale values rather than quality construction. Resale values have collapsed faster than the overall market, with 3-year-old examples losing 40 to 50% of their value. This depreciation disaster makes new purchases even less appealing, as buyers recognize they'll lose massive equity immediately. Regal has essentially abandoned the surf segment entirely, cutting the LS6 from their lineup. The decision represents an expensive admission that entering the segment was a strategic mistake. The LS6 Surf represents an expensive cautionary tale about chasing trends and entering market segments where you lack brand credibility. Number 5. Chaparral 21 SSI. Chaparral has been building quality mid-range boats for over half a century, successfully occupying the space between budget brands and luxury names. The 21 SSI represented their entry-level stern-drive bowrider, a versatile family boat powered by a Mercruiser 4.5-liter V6, producing 250 horsepower. At 21 feet, it was large enough for comfortable day trips with 6 people, but small enough to tow and store affordably. The interior featured Chaparral's signature attention to detail, with well-designed storage compartments that actually held what families needed. The seating was comfortable with adequate cushioning and back support for long days on the water. The helm layout was logical and intuitive, making it easy for novice boaters to learn quickly. The gel coat finish was quality work that would maintain its shine for years with proper care. The hardware was stainless steel throughout, rather than cheaper plated components that corrode quickly. The sound system was decent, with speakers positioned strategically for good coverage. At around $55,000, it offered strong value for families wanting a first boat. Chaparral positioned the 21 SSI as the smart choice for buyers who appreciated quality without needing luxury brand prestige. The marketing emphasized reliability, thoughtful design, and value rather than status or performance. But 2026 has been brutal for bow riders. Buyers have shifted dramatically toward either pontoons or center consoles. Pontoons offer more space, more stability, and easier boarding for families with kids and elderly relatives. Center consoles offer better fishing capability, easier maintenance with outboard power, and stronger resale values. Traditional bow riders like the 21 SSI are caught in the middle, not as family-friendly as pontoons, not as versatile as center consoles. The bow rider's advantages, sleek styling and sporty handling, matter less than practical considerations in today's market. Families prioritize space and utility over aesthetics when budgets are tight and purchases must be justified carefully. The 21 SSI suffers additionally from being exactly the type of boat that flooded the market during the pandemic boom. Used bow riders from 2021 and 2022 are everywhere, priced 30 to 40% below new boat costs. Many of these used boats have fewer than 50 hours and are essentially new condition at massive discounts. The selection is overwhelming, giving buyers endless options and tremendous negotiating leverage. A buyer considering a $55,000 new Chaparral can find 3-year-old equivalents for $35,000 or less. That $20,000 savings is impossible to ignore or rationalize away with arguments about warranty coverage. Chaparral dealers report that 21 SSI inventory sits for 6 months or more, while used boats turn over regularly. The frustration is palpable as dealers watch private sellers move boats quickly while new inventory accumulates. Price cuts have become aggressive, with discounts reaching 15 to 20% off retail. These discounts bring prices down to $45,000 or so, but even that isn't enough to overcome used competition. The bow rider segment needs to shrink dramatically before supply and demand rebalance. The 21 SSI is a good boat that nobody wants in 2026. Number 4. Bayliner Element E16. Bayliner's Element series represented their attempt to create ultra-affordable boats that could bring new buyers into boating with minimal financial commitment. The E16 was a 16-foot open bow runabout powered by a Mercury 60-horsepower outboard, priced at around $18,000, including a trailer. The concept was deliberately stripped down to absolute essentials to hit the lowest possible price point. The hull was basic but functional, designed for calm water use rather than rough conditions. The seating was minimal vinyl cushions without the comfort or support of premium boats. Storage was limited to a few small compartments that couldn't hold much beyond life jackets and basic supplies. The Mercury 60 horsepower outboard was adequate for getting the light boat up to moderate speeds. The trailer was basic but functional, enough to get the boat to and from the water safely. Bayliner marketed it aggressively as the gateway drug to boating, the boat that eliminated excuses about affordability. The advertising emphasized that you could own a boat for less than many used cars cost. During the pandemic boom, the Element E16 sold steadily to first-time buyers who wanted immediate water access at minimal cost. These buyers had never owned boats before and didn't know what they were missing in terms of quality and features. The low price and immediate availability made it an impulse purchase for families with stimulus money burning holes in pockets. But 2026 has exposed the Element's fundamental problems. First, it's too basic. Build quality is obviously budget-oriented, with thin fiberglass and components that feel cheap. The fiberglass flexes noticeably when you step on it, creating concern about long-term durability. The hardware is basic rather than marine-grade, showing corrosion after just one season in saltwater. The upholstery is thin vinyl that tears easily and fades quickly under sun exposure. The overall impression is of a boat built to a price rather than a standard. Second, resale value is catastrophic. Element E16 lose value faster than almost any boat, with 3-year-old examples selling for $8,000 to $10,000, less than half their original price. This depreciation is worse than cars, worse than almost any recreational product you can buy. Owners who finance these boats are underwater immediately and remain underwater throughout the entire loan term. Third, the used market is completely flooded with elements from pandemic buyers who used them twice and decided boating wasn't for them. The reality of boat ownership, maintenance, storage costs, towing hassles, weather dependence hit these buyers hard. These used boats sit on Facebook Marketplace for months at desperate prices, $6,000 or $7,000 for barely used boats. Some sellers are practically giving them away just to stop paying storage fees and insurance. Why would anyone pay $18,000 new when slightly used versions cost 1/3 that amount? The math is impossible to justify under any rational analysis. New Element E16 sales have collapsed completely. Dealers view them as liabilities rather than inventory, products that generate more problems than profits. The Element E16 represents the broader crisis in miniature: too much supply, too little demand, and a used market that makes new purchases financially irrational. Number 3, MasterCraft X24. MasterCraft is American wakeboat royalty. The X24 represented their mid-range offering, a 24-foot wakeboard and surf boat powered by an Ilmor 6.2-liter V8, producing 430 horsepower. It featured hand-laid hulls, premium interiors, and cutting-edge wake-shaping technology. At around $160,000, it wasn't cheap, but serious wake sports families viewed it as necessary for the sport's highest levels. 2026 has been catastrophic for wake sport boats. Sales dropped 14.3%, and premium models like the X24 are among the worst performers. Wake boats attract the most discretionary buyers, affluent families who use them intensely for 3 months and store them the other 9. When economic uncertainty hits, these buyers cut back fast. The used market is flooded with late-model MasterCrafts from pandemic buyers. These used X24s are priced at $100,000 to $120,000, 20 to 40% below new boat costs. The value proposition for new purchases has evaporated. MasterCraft dealers report that X24s sit for 6 months or longer, tying up hundreds of thousands in inventory. MasterCraft has cut production dramatically and focused on smaller, more affordable models. The X24 represents the reality that even the best brands can't overcome market dynamics this severe. Number 2, Yamaha AR-195. Yamaha's jet boats represented an innovative approach to recreational boating, replacing traditional propulsion with marine jet drives. The AR-195 was their 19-foot family model, powered by a 1.8-liter high-output marine engine, producing around 180 horsepower. The jet drive meant no exposed propeller, making it safer around swimmers. At around $50,000, it appealed to families wanting versatile boats. But 2026 has been brutal for jet boats. Sales plummeted 19.9%, nearly 20%. The AR-195 is among the worst sellers in that declining category. First, jet drives are less efficient than traditional propulsion, meaning higher fuel consumption. With buyers focused on operating costs, this inefficiency matters enormously. Second, jet boats have always occupied a niche position. When markets contract, niche products suffer most. The used market is flooded with jet boats from pandemic buyers who discovered jet drives lack the performance of conventional boats. These used Yamahas are priced at $30,000 to $35,000, massive discounts from new pricing. Yamaha dealers report that AR-195s sit for months with minimal serious interest. Price cuts have become desperately aggressive. Yamaha has cut production dramatically, and rumors suggest they're considering exiting the jet boat market entirely. The AR-195 has become a cautionary tale about niche products in contracting markets. Number 1. Sea-Doo Switch Cruise. This should have been a revolution. Sea-Doo reimagined the pontoon boat with their Switch platform, creating a modular vessel that combined jet propulsion with pontoon versatility. The Switch Cruise was their mid-range offering, a 21-foot platform powered by Rotax 1,630 ACE engines, producing between 170 and 230 horsepower. The design was radical: interchangeable components, removable seats, and modern styling that looked nothing like traditional pontoons. At around $50,000, it priced competitively with conventional pontoons. Initial reviews praised the innovation. Then, 2026 arrived, and the Switch Cruise became the single worst-selling boat in America. Pontoon sales collapsed 19.5%. The Switch Cruise is failing even within that failing category. First, the Switch's radical design made traditional pontoon buyers nervous about long-term reliability and service support. Second, resale value has been catastrophic. Switch boats lose value faster than anything, with 2-year-old examples selling for $30,000 or less, over 40% depreciation. Third, the used pontoon market is saturated with conventional pontoons from trusted brands selling for $30,000 to $35,000. These conventional pontoons offer proven reliability and better resale value. Fourth, Sea-Doo's limited dealer network means questions about service availability. Sea-Doo dealers report that Switch inventory sits for over a year in some cases. Price cuts approaching 30% are common, with boats originally priced at $50,000 selling for $35,000. Sea-Doo has dramatically cut Switch production and refocused on personal watercraft. The Switch experiment has become the poster child for innovation failing in risk-averse markets. The Switch Cruise is the worst-selling boat in America and the symbol of an industry that bet wrong on the future. These 11 boats tell the story of an industry in crisis. From entry-level disasters to luxury failures, from innovative experiments to mid-range casualties, the carnage is universal. Some are bad boats that deserve their fate. Most are good boats destroyed by market dynamics beyond anyone's control. All represent billions in lost value, thousands of lost jobs, and the death of dreams for manufacturers, dealers, and buyers. The water is still there, but in 2026, fewer people are answering its call. Which of these failures surprises you most? Have you seen any sitting unsold on dealer lots near you? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you value honest analysis of what's really happening in the boat market, subscribe for more stories about the machines that should have succeeded and the market that's destroying them all.